happened last game?
Oh, where to begin?
Well, after Pure and Macklin talked for hours about life and how life is and things.
It was 15 minutes.
Darius decided that he was going to take some things into his own hands. He did by breaking the mind of a creature so that he would spill the beans. As Darius sat down and waited for what he thought party members to return, he was unpleasantly attacked by a bard who he once thought of as friend. After a battle took place, people returned and some strange happenings and clouds of fog. A lot of other things happened where Bard disappeared somewhere. Darius went to leave. He was done with the fight. And then a shapeshifter got out. Yeah. Party is now split because the Bard has gone insane. That's pretty much what happened.
To flesh things out from the reasonable side of the party.
What's that?
After spending some time in communion with the Matron of Ravens, Kiora emerged with a new perspective on recent events. Met up with Macklin, who was waiting for her. They had a talk on their way back to the Dragon Safe, kind of discussing on the nature of the party and some of the party members and the nature of things in town. And Macklin seemed to try his best to make Cure distrust him in the party. I'm not sure what his goal was in that conversation. They headed down to the Dragon Safe and found Seamus and Darius in the middle of a fight. Macklin proceeded to attempt to break them up while Kior went to find out what happened by speaking to a doppelganger that was awake and terrified, who pretty much said that Darius mutilated his companion and interrogated him. Hey! Speak of the gnome. At that point, Macklin was able to successfully break up the fight with a giant cloud of smoke. Darius retreated as Ilya arrived with some guardsmen, some hunters out in the street. Seamus teleported up to cut Darius off at the party. Welcome back. Cure caught up with Darius as Seamus tried to lead the hunters after Darius, only to be tackled by them all and then promptly stepped back into the basement. And as Cure tried to talk to Darius and find out what the hell was going on, Seamus and Macklin, along with Ilya, discovered that the doppelganger that was still awake had escaped his cell somehow and was now missing. So they ran after him to try and chase him down. Cure discovered up above that the huntsmen Ilya had brought with her that had tackled Seamus were now all gone, disappeared. So she ran back downstairs with Darius in tow and found the Dragon Safe in the immediate area empty of all their companions and the soul awake doppelganger.
Yeah, sounds about right. Macklin, do you want to talk a little bit about what happened from your point of view last game? Because I feel like it's really important to get everyone's point of view on last game.
From my point of view?
Yep.
Oh boy. Let me think back. Start of the game, I was searching for Cure. Come to find that her communion had finished and she had disappeared. From there, I expected I would have to look hard to find her, but I came to discover her like right outside of the church area in one of the courtyards. We chatted briefly, discussed a few matters. Macklin warned that maybe returning back to the dragon cage was a bad idea because emotions were raw and people should really chat things out first. And Cure brought up an interesting point that, Vecna's not going to wait. He's going to fuck us up and not give us a chance to. So Macklin decided that it was best to defer to that logic. So he led the way back to the dragon's cage, and they talked and walked, and during their travel, let's see, try to remember when they started talking about Gren, but oh, that's neither here nor there. When they got to the cage, Macklin brought up that, all this time we've been going about and checking people's identities with questions about each other, but no one in the immediate team knows anything about each other to confirm or deny whether or not they are a doppelganger. And he illustrated the point by using a minor illusion to give himself a ghoulish face, a very easy disguise, to prove a point how easy it would be. Leading the way down, they found that gunshots were being fired, people were yelling, and Seamus, I believe, was invisible at the time, but the bard and the non-barbarian were in a fight. Macklin tried to break it up by using the Condemner. He tried popping some of the spells on it. Could not land a hit on Darius, the only thing that he could see, in order to trigger any of those spells. So he ended up shooting himself in the foot to trigger Fog Cloud spell. If they couldn't hit each other, then they couldn't kill each other, right? That was the idea. So Darius left the cloud, went back the way he came. Seamus disappeared to the opposite side of the room. And as the cloud dissipated, Macklin demanded that the only sane person here, Seamus, describe what was happening. Rather than answer him, Seamus decided to dimension door out of the building, much to Macklin's continued frustration. Let's see, the ranger,
Ilya.
Ilya arrived at some point, took inventory of the situation, and at the same time, the woodsmen were outside on their way here. Seamus got intercepted by them. Darius stayed inside, waiting to leave. And while those guys debated on what they wanted to do, Macklin discovered that there were 8 doppelgangers. Now there is 6 and 1 dead one. Where the hell is the 7th one? So he broke off from the party to search for it, leading the hunt, leaving the boys, the angry boys, in Cure's hands.
Alright. Any volunteers as to who would like to go first?
No matter to me.
Okay.
I can volunteer.
Alrighty.
So I guess picking up where we left off with Cure and Darius getting back to the dragon safe and finding everyone gone.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I'm gonna do is look around and try to find some sign of where they were gone and kind of call out, Ilya, Macklin, Seamus.
Yeah, they have quite a distance ahead of you.
Yep.
If I don't hear anything, I'm going to try to investigate for clues.
Okay.
This is going to go swimmingly. I know it. Where the hell is everyone?
Wow.
With the 3.
I mean, even if I was trying to assist.
It appears that there was a scuffle.
I knew that much. Darius, stop hanging back and help.
What do you want me to do?
I pause, and then I point at the 2 empty cages.
Oh. Can I make a survival check?
Yep.
Get at those. 19.
You see Macklin's footsteps going out the back entrance. What you would assume is Ilya's footsteps going out the back entrance. Seamus's footsteps seem to have disappeared.
Well, I take it you're following the gnome and the woman, correct?
I would assume if they're going anywhere, it's to follow the one that got away.
This way. And I lead Cure. Continuing to track gnome and the woman that don't really know her name.
Cure is privately proud that she found something that motivated Darius without an argument, and also somewhat alarmed that he was motivated that quickly.
Okay. In that case, we are going to move over. Who wants to go first, Macklin or Seamus?
I would like to go first.
Okay.
I remember the last thing that I was told was that I was in.
Hall, and I was just going down the hall. So
Okay.
I'm continuing down the path I was heading. I don't know if I'm following anyone.
You're muted.
You're not broadcasting anymore.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so I'm racing down the corridor that I'm in, either looking for signs of people or exits,
Okay.
since I have no idea where I am.
You do find an exit.
I take it.
Okay. You exit kind of around the sun tree.
Okay. It's like right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I look around from where I'm at right now. Do I see any guards, Ilias or otherwise?
It appears to be quiet.
Max, stop it. Leave him alone. Okay.
So I'm just. I'm looking for. I'm heading towards the castle
Okay. Okay.
because I asked. I made sure Cassandra knew, and there should have been a contingency coming. So I'm heading towards the castle to see what's going on, since obviously they didn't show up.
Okay. Where last we left our heroes, Macklin was fucking bolting it after a good survival check. Trying to make up time to catch this thing.
And Ilya was keeping pace with you.
Somehow, some way.
So, you come out to this T intersection here with the courtyard on your right, and the entrance to your left. Roll me another survival check.
Alrighty. Tracking it in a city, so roll with advantage. 20. Unnatural.
Okay. You and Ilya kind of look at each other, nod, and head in this direction.
Alright, I'll let her lead the way as I take a quick look through my various materials. Trying to see if I have any kind of sleeping potion. I don't think I have anything for sleeping, though. Got acid. Hallucinogen. That might be useful.
Okay. As you come across to this big intersection, Ilya kind of looks around and shakes her head. I don't see anything. Do you?
Will that be perception?
It will be survival or perception.
Alright, let's see. Perception. I got training in that, so let's roll perception. Roll high. 22.
You look around and you see signs that whatever it is going this way. Kind of it looks like some laundry was stolen from a line that kind of crosses the street here.
Something went this way. Hastily changed their dress, it looks like.
Ilya sighs. Christ, of course they did.
Come, it's lost time doing so. We may just catch it yet. And, he will dash.
Okay. You get about to this intersection.
That is a dash.
Yep. It's more than a dash, but I'm not going to make you roll a survival check every 20 feet. Or 40 feet. Okay. Roll me another survival check.
Another survival check. Alright, let's do this. Roll even higher. 21's better than 20.
Okay. It looks like it ducked off to the left. Looks like
So, in this direction?
Yeah.
Alright. Can I see how hot the trail is? Can I tell how close it is?
It looks like it got several minutes head start on you.
Jeez Louise.
Probably disappeared during the fight.
Of course it did. Alright, then I will make haste, abandoning stealth to move as quickly as I can.
Okay. Okay, you get to this intersection, make me another survival check.
Okie dokie. Alright, can you roll even higher? No, it can't. It's a 10. Well, I mean, it was bound to happen eventually.
Ilya looks to you. I don't see anything.
No dice. Well, it seems this one has slipped out of our grasp. Damn!
She sighs and shakes her head. I don't know what to say.
Likewise, none of this was supposed to happen. And yet here we are.
Well, that's the way it goes.
Well, it makes sense to report it post-haste to the powers that be.
I am the powers that be.
Well, powers that be, we have a severe problem on our hands.
Indeed, I've been monitoring the situation with the doppelgangers.
Yes, I've heard that the town has known about this situation for quite some time.
Most of them were harmless.
What makes you say that? And he sort of just flicks his cloak to the side, seals it up in the front, and more or less disarms, genuinely curious.
Yeah, she leans against the building, she lowers her crossbow. Some rich, noble asshole to the south wanted to keep track of us and keep an eye on our city. It didn't feel like he was getting the full story from Cassandra Derulo, so he sent spies.
He squints very slowly. Are you telling me that these are paid voyeurs?
Basically.
You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
He's looking for a weakness from Cassandra. So he'd like to take Whitestone. His own city is not nearly as nice.
The first one we found was an agent of Vecna, impersonating Kyor's brother, Hunan.
She smiles at your pronunciation. Probably one that slipped in with the refugees.
Well, yes, but... Are you telling me that there's not only Vecna in control of these things, but there's also a rich dandy to the south who's just keeping tabs on things?
Well, I mean, he's not just a rich dandy.
Is he vying for power? Is he an agent of Vecna?
Power, resources. Whitestone sits on a very powerful mine of Whitestone, which is the city is named after, of course.
Whitestone, is that like a nature check type of thing, or...
Roll me an Arcana or Nature, whichever you would prefer.
Arcana or nature, alright, Guess who has training in neither of those things? In nature. Maybe the forest spirits will take pity on me. That's a 3.
Yeah, you give a puzzled look.
I'm afraid I don't catch your meaning. A white stone?
She nods.
Like chalk?
It's a type of marble. It, maybe granite closer to. It takes enchantment very well.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, not Macklin. Darius and Kyor, you are making quick pace. You're about here at the moment.
So, to get things straight, we've known about the doppelgangers for a while, and some of them are enlisted by this southern noble, what have you, who's looking for a chance, an opening, to swoop in and steal the mine.
She nods. The mine, the treasury.
Wow, that is incredibly mundane. Frustratingly mundane.
Oh, I believe he's actually made several attempts on Cassandra's husband's life in order to see himself in that position.
So typical nobility drama.
Typical nobility drama.
He pulls his hair. He bends at the knees. He shouts into the night, this beleaguered
And that's about when
groan.
Darius and Kyor kind of turn the corner to look down the street.
Oh, I know. I see those two.
Mm-hmm.
Start walking that way.
From a distance, you hear ranting and raving, him pacing back and forth between homes on the right side of the road and the left side of the road, just muttering
I
curses
believe we
in.
found Macklin.
I don't know, what languages do you speak? There's this guttural growling. There's like snorts involved.
Sounds like kind
Is
of
that
like an
Infernal?
angry hamster.
And all for nothing. Nothing! Pointless!
Let's get the small one all upset.
Following up behind Darius.
Well, I just told him what the doppelgangers were doing in the city.
Spying?
Yes.
You can just kind of grunt a little.
And Macklin just sort of storms up after Ilya and over her shoulder, or from her side, points at Cure and Darius. For gold! For nothing more than gold! No grand universal plan or scheme. No Demi-Lich's foul machinations.
Well, I
Vecna
mean,
has enlisted the aid of others with gold before, Macklin. It's not that unusual. Macklin, are you muted?
No. He just wrings his hands in frustration and puffs his cheeks, nostrils flared.
Someone pissed off the rat.
He's a gnome.
I was just telling him about Count Costume and what he was doing in the city.
Count who?
Costume.
Who?
He's some dude from the south.
The
A
one who
nobleman of
sent
some kind.
most of the doppelgangers.
Up to no
Most.
good.
Maybe not all, but most.
You did
That
catch
bears looking into.
2 that weren't on my radar that I wasn't actively tracking, so good job with that.
See? It was just all bad luck. Got the wrong ones.
Bad luck and miscommunication and a bit of overzealousness.
I do not disagree with that, but how certain are you that this count is not in league with Vecna?
He very well could be, but we'd know more about him if, I don't know, he simply asked around, asked our friend here. And
That's crazy, Phil.
I gesture toward Ilya. I don't think Macklin knows her. Oh no, she's the person who has the crazy reputation.
Yeah.
I do know her name because she's supposed to be frightening.
To be fair, I did not tell Gren to round up all the shapeshifters. I told him to find spies.
Now this isn't about Gren anymore, and this isn't about spies anymore.
Ilya smiles and shrugs her shoulders. And to be fair, he found most of the spies in the city. And most of the innocent shapeshifters in the city. I think he got a little upset when he heard about what happened with Odessa.
24 hours. He had 24 hours in this city.
She kind of gives you like this wide, cocky grin, and kind of holds her arms out. He's a Taldore. We're good at what we do.
That you are.
But you did catch me too that I hadn't known about, so perhaps there's something there.
A silver lining, perhaps. Well, now we seem to know the origin of at least some of these doppelgangers. I hope that satisfies some curious minds. Perhaps a lead to look into? And I look down the street toward Cure. down the way. Hopefully they're close enough so they're not screaming at each other.
Oh yeah, we're right next to you.
Yeah.
Indeed, if this count has spies in the cities, then with Vasselheim fallen and Vecna knowing that we operate out of Whitestone, their intelligence is going to be more valuable to him than ever before.
Yes, it would behoove us to find out who he's playing for, whether it's himself or you know who. Best we get to him before you know who does.
To be honest, I think he's working for the Empire, but that's just my opinion.
It bears looking into, although we might have further difficulties considering Darius's current situation with Seamus.
Oh, God, Seamus. Where did that boy get off to?
I was hoping that he had gone after you.
Me? No. Did you not see that look in his eyes? The boy's off kilter.
No, I didn't.
Little crazy.
No, I've seen that look before.
Which also reminds me, Ilya, you alluded to bringing backup with you to the Dragon Safe.
I did.
I heard them scuffling with Seamus before he disappeared, but when I went out to check on them, they were gone.
I sent them back to join their patrol.
I let out a little sigh of relief. Okay, one mystery solved.
I am currently serving as part head of the city, or co-head of the city guard, guard of the outskirts, forest warden, and doppelganger hunter / tracker. So, my men are spread a bit thin. I didn't have time to babysit Kiora and Seamus. Or, sorry, not Kiora and Seamus. I didn't have time. I didn't have time to. Darius. I didn't have time to babysit Darius and Seamus. Roll me a perception check with advantage.
Who?
You.
$21.
Yeah, she looks fucking tired. She looks almost as tired as when she came over with the Slayer's Take and had a burgeoning drinking problem.
Going to move up to stand beside her as I speak. To my understanding, I believe Seamus and Darius got into an altercation over Darius's treatment of Whitestone's prisoners.
Yes,
Or he just went crazy.
we generally don't murder our prisoners.
Or maim, I imagine.
As is found
Particularly
upon
when they're
most.
sleeping.
It was effective.
Sort of squinted Darius. Well, I'd call it barbaric, but that would lose its meaning on you, I think.
It was inhumane.
It is. One of the few things we have left is how we treat prisoners.
Normal prisoners I treat fine. Monsters I do not.
Unarmed, chained up. It was no.
Asleep.
It was no threat to you.
Nope.
At this point, I believe it's somewhat of a Whitestone matter to decide what comes of the situation with Darius. I believe Seamus was acting on his authority as a god, which means he wasn't entirely incorrect in starting a fight.
Well, there's starting a fight, and then there's opening fire on someone in an enclosed room.
Yep.
Like I said, I've seen that.
Justifiable cause?
Just fine. You've been hanging around paladins for too long, I think.
I've been at war for too long, I think.
Touché.
I will let you figure this out amongst yourselves, but just say you've burned up some of your good graces in the city tonight.
I think that's the least of our problems at the moment. Still. Ouch.
Do you believe a visit to Cassandra with an explanation would be warranted?
I think that perhaps Cassandra is best left alone at the moment. She is,
Livid?
among other things, less stable than she would normally be. So, I have been taking over many of her duties.
What do you mean less stable?
It is not my information to tell. What do you know of the curse that was placed on the city?
There's a curse on the city?
Apparently.
When you first arrived,
Oh, that the... that laugh in the background. The curse that the charlatan at the Temple of the Raven Queen was connected to?
yes.
Kiora kind of squints behind her mask as she tries to recall.
Roll a history check if you don't remember.
God, how do you forget this? This is fantastic.
That's a 13. I recall it had something to do with children to appease Vecna's wrath.
Ilya just nods to you. Yes.
That sounds dreadful.
It was.
It wasn't. It was dreadful. He made a deal that no child would be born, and instead, any energies created would instead feed Vecna.
Hold on for just a moment. No children will be born.
It's one of the first things that was fixed in the city.
I assume that curse is no longer a thing, yes?
No, it is no longer a thing.
Oh, good, good.
And the dots connect in 3, 2.
It is patentedly no longer a thing. Are you guys still looking at Ilya with blank faces?
No, not at all.
There's no longer a curse there.
I had to see if Kiora might start drawing connections. She can just kind of squints behind her mask again. Wait a moment.
Indeed.
Cassandra is really... For how long?
Several months now? One? Maybe?
Several months? She's
Well,
been...
not several months. One, I think. Two, perhaps.
Oh, well, I suppose we lifted that curse in the nick of time.
Oh, well, good for her. That's wonderful. Oh, that would explain why she's not in her right mind.
I beg your pardon.
Macklin shrugs slightly. Well, I mean, you'd know more about female anatomy than I would, but with all the experience I've seen, fucking women are insane. They
Ilya
don't start
nods.
insane, they go insane.
Ilya nods. He has a point.
Well, truth be told, I wouldn't really know.
But I have been taking over most of her duties in the city between me and Mistress Hightower. Mother, of course.
Well, I find that somewhat reassuring, actually.
Very well then. Any further problems that we find we'll bring to you instead of to Cassandra then.
Wise, I'm probably a little bit more level-headed than she is. Especially now.
And I prefer to keep my head level than to have it lopped off by an angry woman.
Kynan is also a good resource. He is officially my co-captain now, and he's easier to find because he doesn't spend days upon days in the woods.
Kynan, noted.
Mechlin, roll me a history check.
A history check? Okay. Am I trained in history? Why am I trained in history but not in nature? What the fuck?
You're not that kind of ranger.
Not that kind of ranger. That's an 11.
Name sounds familiar, but whatever.
Oh, well, just add it to the Rolodex. I'll put a name to the face and a story to the name eventually.
Alright, so did you need anything else from me?
Well,
Well, I had hoped to catch up with Seamus, but it seems that might be out of the question.
It's Seamus. Would you like me to track him for you?
You look rather exhausted.
as I recall, he was bleeding rather profusely. I might be able to track him.
It is long from dawn, my friend. But I have custody of 6 doppelgangers to see to.
Righto. You handle the mess that a good number of people have collaborated upon to create. And we will see to our own.
Alright, try not to murder each other in the streets, and then I'll have to arrest you.
Do you happen... No promises. Do you happen to know where the dragon safe exits throughout the city?
There's one exit near the Sun Tree, one exit, which is the one you entered, and I believe there is another entrance near the Bears Pub. But that is a good deal of a walk, and when we were tracking...
I suppose we can see if we can pick up Seamus's trail near the Sun Tree, then. We did not see him on the way over here.
That may be prudent. There may be a handful of eyes in that area who could have picked him up. Not literally a handful of eyes. Things that watched. Crows. There's crows that live there.
Yes, there are.
Franklin clears his throat and awkwardly starts to make his way toward the sun tray.
Okay. As you walk away, she moves over to Kior, gives her a kiss on the cheek, and walks back towards the safe.
At the same time, Kior turned to embrace her. It was very synchronized movements.
Yep.
It's like they planned this shit. Part of being a Teldori, you gotta go to...
Cotillion. Please don't murder each other in the streets. I will have to actually arrest you.
Very well. I won't let anyone die.
Thank you. If you do, keep it subtle, maybe?
No guarantees. I'm not very subtle.
Or it was pretty subtle. We would have been fine.
On the contrary, if something happens, I will make sure it's now loud and obnoxious.
She kind of just shakes her head and starts walking away.
Turn back to Macklin and Darius. Well, shall we go?
Macklin's already on his way.
No, 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 no.
Batman and
Seamus!
Robin and Raven.
Yeah.
You make your way to the castle, slowly but surely. What you doing?
I look for a set of guards to ask if there was a contingent sent to the Dragon's Pit.
Okay. A young guard, probably still pretty new. And generally like an older, gruffed, silver-haired man. Both nod to you. Yes, I believe Baroness Taldore was sent to deal with the disturbance.
I nod slowly and sigh heavily. And with the way things have gone, I thank him and I turn around and start walking back. But as I'm walking back, once I'm out of sight, I just cast invisibility on myself using my Cittern. And then I'm just heading back to I'll head back to my house where Nika and Seraphine and my mother's are.
Okay. Alright, in that case we're gonna pick up with Macklin and the rest.
Well, shit.
Roll me a survival check.
Survival. That's a crit.
Oh,
23
yeah.
total.
Yeah, you see it. You catch the sight of the blood, and you just go, "Yep, that's him." And you see a beeline straight towards the castle.
Yep, that's Bart.
For reference, I did cast Cure Wounds on myself near the end of that fight, so I'm not as damaged as I was.
Okay.
I didn't know how much blood you were thinking I was dripping, so just letting you know.
He rolled a crit. He sees several drops in the direction that the drops are coming.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just clarifying. It's not like a pool.
No.
And fresh footprints.
You have
Noted.
you have a bloody foot, and you just.
Yep. That could happen.
That looks about his shoe size. That must have changed. Did changelings change their shoes when they change their shape? And I'm asking this to Cure, knowing full well Cure probably doesn't know.
Why on earth do you think I would know that?
You've known him longer than I did.
And I
And,
suppose the way we so swimmingly get on with one another entitles me to know the secrets of his biology, yes?
He shrugs a little. We haven't tried killing each other yet. And with that, he leads the way.
I don't see how that has any bearing on what we were talking about, as Kior follows him.
Alright, so knowing that the path leads north to the castle is probably only one direction he would have gone in.
What's your passive perception?
My passive... I just found this last week. My passive perception is
Actually,
17.
roll me a perception check, because you are looking for him.
Okay.
Seamus, roll me a stealth check with advantage.
So that's a 30.
All right.
That's awesome.
Okay. Seamus, you see the group heading down the path towards you. You guys are just north of the city walls, probably right about here. You can't jump off the chasm.
Come
I was just
on.
moving out of the way. So the way they're walking with, I want to roll an insight check. Hold on. Shit. Well, that's a nat 20 on an insight check.
Well,
I
I
was
hope
gonna say-
Seamus isn't going after Cassandra, because chatting with her would be a bad idea. That Seamus always getting into trouble. I wonder where he is.
Yes. So my insight check would be to see how Macklin and Cure are walking with Darius, to see if they seem buddy-buddy or if they're standoffish. But I'm also staying to the side to not get hit as they come up.
Okay. Well, he rolled a natural 20, so Macklin, Cure. What's your body
That was
language?
Macklin's annoyed at the whole situation. Darius is a fucking loose cannon, and so Macklin is placing distance between himself and Darius.
I am more subdued than usual. Not as worked up, but not quite the same level of irritated as hell I was this morning. Not really walking too close to Darius. Not very kind of an unapproving distance while still being kind of the same general party. I guess my bearing is tense. I think that's the best way to describe someone who's completely masked and covered from head to toe.
Okay, then while being stealth, I wait for everyone to pass me, and I walk a little bit further, and I turn around and use message to speak to. I send a message to Macklin up front. Actually, no. I send it to Cure. I say, I can't be near him. If I have to be near him, I'm going to kill him. Or he's going to kill me.
Sure,
I'm going to
sure,
be
sure,
where I
sure,
need to
sure.
be.
But she's listening.
I finished up with, I'm going to be where I need to be. Don't bring him. And with casting that cantrip, I've come into view, but I'm immediately turning and then going at full run back to my house.
I stop, and I guess the sound of footsteps running off draws my attention his direction. So I stop walking and turn slightly, looking back the way we came. Then I look around to see if anyone else noticed.
Macklin's still tracking.
Probably wouldn't notice.
Macklin's still bloodhounding it up the path. Darius stops to look at Cure.
Yeah. I'll give you a glance, but I didn't notice.
I don't know how fruitful this is going to be.
Pardon?
He
Macklin
hasn't been gone too long, and we still haven't caught up to him. And if he's going up to the castle, well, Ilya did say that getting near Cassandra at the moment would be ill-advised.
He nods a bit.
Do you want to roll a deception check for that?
Not that I just slow him down at the doors, yeah?
I mean, she's not exactly lying.
True.
Perhaps Ilya is right, and it may be best to revisit things in the morning.
Macklin slides his hands into his pockets, and in doing so, his cloak sort of comes up in front of him, forming a neat little silhouette. And in that sort of skulking-like demeanor, he makes his way over to Cure. I have the strangest sense of deja vu right now, where, not too long ago, I had suggested that we wait till morning and hash things out.
Well, things have devolved considerably since then.
However, things have devolved considerably since then. I'm willing to wait if you are, but tomorrow, first thing, as soon as we get over our issues, and I looked at Darius and I looked at Cure, and I looked skyward, rolling my eyes. We really should get out of this city and get back to work.
I agree.
He silently nods. Well, there are places to rest in the castle. I suppose I'll be heading that way.
I have a room at an inn.
The empty spoon? Slumming it again?
Am I at the bear? I'm at the Bears pub, aren't I?
You were billeted at the Bears pub, but you actually have a room at the barracks now. Because you were billeted there because you did not. There was no barracks. They were still finishing it.
I should. Well, I tend to travel light, but I assume all my gear was moved to the barracks, or do I need to check out of the pub?
No, any gear that you had left was moved to the barracks.
Actually, I believe I'm stationed at the barracks now.
Moving on up in the world. Glad to hear it.
Indeed. And I see my attention seems to have wandered off as I start thinking. Very well, then shall we agree to meet up at one of the inns tomorrow morning to discuss our next move, or what shall we do?
Yeah, certainly. Which one do you have in mind? Well, welcome at the... Well, no, Ave is at the Bears pub. Anywhere but the Bears pub.
I was about to say that the Bears pub is a far more far more welcoming destination than the Empty Spoon.
Macklin is still smiling genially, but his left eyelid begins to twitch slightly. If you insist.
Cure is distracted and does not even question the hesitation.
I'll be at the Bears Club, so you guys can find me there.
Of course.
Good to know.
Yeah. Try to be awake, or at least somewhat sober, when we find you.
Okay. I'll try that.
He inclines his head and nods politely. Unless there's further ado, Macklin turns on the group and makes his way toward the castle, And
Darius heads to the Bears Pub.
Okay.
Cure heads to the barracks, but she still has some things to do before the night's over.
Okay. Yeah. Macklin, you are let in. No one questions you. The room you had the night before is still open, available to you.
Good. He'll just go through his evening routine, cleaning off his armor, sharpening his daggers, stringing his crossbow. Just preparing for a busy day of potentially using weapons.
Okay. Give me just a moment here because I need to look something up really quick. Sorry about the wait.
All good.
No problem.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
Me?
Yep.
Alright, let's see. Perception. Normal roll. Because I'm not tracking anything. 26.
Okay. I'm going to send you a message in Facebook
Oh no.
with what you find.
Okay.
I have Hamilton stuck in my head.
Wish! Shopping made fun! What is this?
Okay, so Macklin, you make your way to the rooms. Sorry, not Jazen. No. Darius, you make your way towards the Bears Pub. Cure, what you doing?
I'm going to retire to my room and dig out my writing implements and spend some time composing a letter.
Okay.
Once that letter is completed, I am going to go for a walk back out into the city.
Okay.
And slip it under the door to Seamus's mother's house and then retire back to the barracks.
Alrighty.
And once I get back, I say my prayers for the night and go to bed.
Okay. Do you want to send me the text of the note? Do you want to send it directly to Sam? What you want to do?
I have to start by composing the note. And then I'll make sure that both of you get it.
I'll say really quickly, after I got inside, I prestidigitated myself to hide the fact that I've been wounded and in a grievous fight. And because I don't have mending, I don't have a chance to fix my clothing, but I sit down in front of the fireplace quietly and I ruminate over things, really contemplating where I fit in this group now, and I'm just being quiet.
Okay. Jocelyn.
Alright, so I imagine I've heard about what's been going on, correct?
Yeah, and Ilya keeps you updated with the goings on of your previous group. And being concerned that they may have lost their way, you do get a short note. But you found it's Ilya's way to send short notes. Mostly because it's easier for you to read them, even with your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
It just says, Ice could use your guidance.
Oh, what these people keep getting themselves into. Where did she tell me their last whereabouts were?
Oh, where her last whereabouts were?
No, where the group's last whereabouts were.
She did mention that they were investigating something at the Dragon Safe. But the note says probably at his mother's house.
Okay. I will head that direction.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't take you long to get there. You arrive late at night.
As usual.
But
I know.
Mrs. O'Shaughnessy always kind of lets you in and feeds you, so...
Yeah, I'll knock.
Narrowly missing cure somehow through luck and funny timelines.
It's going to take me at least like 30, 45 minutes to even write the damn letter.
Woobly wobbly.
Bubbly woo.
You knock on the door. Ice, you hear a knock. Very familiar knock.
I stand up from the seat and I carefully walk to the door. And you said I recognize the knock?
Oh yeah.
I cast a message through the door and I say, "Is that you, you blind fool?" You can reply.
I can pretty much still hear you, you know. Open the door.
I open the door and let him in.
He walks in, goes, finds himself a seat, and just sits down.
I close the door and follow him back to the main room and sit.
Getting yourself into trouble again?
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that.
Heard you guys got a new companion.
Yeah, you could say that.
Heard you may have stabbed him once or twice.
He tortured and killed a prisoner.
I could see why you'd stab him. Little overreaction, though, wouldn't you say?
We're supposed to be heroes. We're supposed to be better than that ilk. I lived through all of this years ago, and I promised I would never let it happen again, and it happened. With someone who was supposed to be noble, who was supposed to be on our side, and not some half evil minion, or whatever reason he has, I don't know. But there's no excusing that.
Know much about his culture?
No, he's been mum on what he is, other than he likes fighting and is all action, no delay.
I can see, From what I hear, he's from the woods, I'd say. You know someone who's from the woods, right? Me. But one thing you gotta remember is that not everybody's a part of your culture. Some people grew up differently. Sometimes talking to them is much better than fighting them.
That is maybe, but I am not a party to what he's about.
Jocelyn kind of puts his hand on his shoulder. So, what are you gonna do?
That's up to the rest of the party. I would love to continue with the group and doing what we had been doing, but he is strong. He is a good fighter. Perhaps they'd be better off just using him for the rest and finding someone to replace me, and I can just go back to being a guard here and protect the ones I love actively and know exactly what's going on at all times. But I can't. I lived through it once, and I can't trust him.
Well, if there's one thing I can tell you now, boy, you were meant for this. Meant to do. Maybe you should talk to your group and see what they say.
Yeah, I can't go near him though. I have a rage that's been that I've kept check quite a while, but that was it. I I barely walked past him without trying to. I can talk to. I really can't face him, because if I do, either one of us dies, or I get imprisoned. Which one would happen, honestly?
How about this? I'll come with you. See what we can do. We can take care of it.
I don't think so. I'm gonna stay here tonight. I'll leave hints on where I'll be. Obviously, Macklin can find out because he has birds. Fucking birds. And
Macklin has birds.
yeah, you know gnomes and their trickery. No, actually, you don't. He somehow befriended all of the crows at the Sun Tree, and he can talk to them? I don't quite understand it, but he can get information from birds that doesn't make sense.
This is a new trick to me. I'll come back in the morning. And we can talk to Cure and Macklin together. Without your barbaric friend with you.
Could you say that again? I lost you for a second there.
That's okay. I said, I'll come back in the morning, and me and you can go talk to Cure and Macklin together. How's that?
Sure. Whatever you want. I don't know why you're helping, but sure.
Come on now, we traveled together, what, 2 months? You're practically family.
You're practically. Oh wait, no, you are a commanding officer.
Well, there's that too, but I didn't want to throw out the authority around. You have no choice but to do what I say anyways.
Yeah, just go. I'll be here in the morning.
Joslin stands up, puts his hand firmly on his shoulder. It will work out, I promise. Walks out.
Promptly slips on the unseen letter on the floor.
You do. You don't slip. You do step, and you do hear the crunch of paper as you step on it. You're pretty sure you broke the wax seal.
I'll pick it up, walk it over to Ice, and hand it to him. I think this is for you. And then I'll go.
I obviously take the letter, and after he walks out, I bar the door and go back to the sitting area to read the letter.
There's your letter. Oh, you just posted it in War Elves. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And with that, the evening finally draws to a close. Everyone
Fine,
roll me
that's
Constitution. Everyone roll me Constitution throws.
6 on a con save.
It's not a save, but save works. It's not a big deal.
That would be a 5 then.
Okay. It's legit not a big deal.
3.
3. Okay.
Hey!
That's appropriate, actually.
That's an 8.
Okay.
21,
Who are you rolling as?
Joslin.
Okay. Alright, Joslin, you wake up first because you had much less of a traumatic night.
Yes. I'm gonna go see Cassandra.
You do. Yeah, you go see her. You know what's up with her, too.
Hmm.
After you take care of an errand at the Bears Pub, you go see Cassandra.
I sit down and I look at her. I really hate to do this to you right now, in the condition that you're in, but
I think that the world needs you more than my brother does.
I agree. Gets up. Be careful. Don't get stressed out.
Ilya's been taking up most of my slack, as you know, and Kynan won't let me look at any paperwork, so...
I smile. I nod. And I walk out.
Okay.
I puke as I leave, and then I walk out.
As you lose your breakfast, you do run into Macklin. Or Macklin, you run into Joslin.
Oh, well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes?
Aren't you a singing song to my ears?
Oh, you flatterer. And he'll hop in time to walk beside him. How have you been? It's been a while. Any news from the blighted tinker downstairs?
As you see Jazin, you can actually see, even though Jazin's half elf, he has more human traits in him, and he has a thin beard, and his hair is scraggly, and he looks worn out. And he says, making progress.
Well, that's good. You, however, look like hell. You've always been a little shaggy and rough around the edges, but, have you been sleeping?
When I can.
That's not a good answer. Sleep is incredibly important.
No one in Whitestone sleeps.
No. I mean, when you have the unfortunate of dead all around you, and a person in the next room who's going on and on and on, and whose mind's broken, you have one of your greatest friends. Well, I don't know what you know about that. Under a lot of stress, we'll say. You don't sleep much.
Well, I suppose that's a sign of a good friend. But, do remember to take care of yourself. Can't take care of anyone else if you're, you know, dead. Or sick. Or sick.
And he holds his, he holds the amulet that he has around his neck. I have someone on my side to help with that matter.
Well, it seems my holistic natural wisdom has been defeated once again by the powers of nefarious, meddling theology.
Chuckles. Well, puts his hand on his shoulder and slaps it hard. Well, old boy, it looks like you could use my help, huh?
Well, I don't know about that. Things are rather much a mess. And, well, after we shared that one intimate moment, I knew that you were a very level-headed person.
I've heard stories. Not so good stories, but I've heard stories.
Well, I mean, you are also known to fly off into a fiery rage, but it seems religion may have changed you a bit.
I still have my problems every once in a while, but I got those under control for now.
Well, hopefully those problems are less than the current problems plaguing our allies.
Kind of gets a small little smirk. Oh, my friend, I've taken care of all that for you.
Do tell.
I don't think your barbarian friend will be bugging you anytime soon.
He cocks a brow slowly. You didn't put him in a tree.
God, no, why would I do that to someone?
Cathartic retribution.
No, I told him to leave. Jeez. You're
Oh.
harsh.
Oh, that's better than putting him in a tree.
Didn't want to have the mess that we're gonna have to clean up after him.
Ah, I see. Yes, I did believe that, after yesterday there may be some people out for his, well, maybe not his blood, but definitely answers. And he doesn't seem the type to take kindly to giving answers.
He didn't seem very smart.
He scratches his chin. Well, I'd say that, but that would risk having a face filled with axe and fist. So I didn't say that to his face. But I was thinking it for a while.
So where's Cure?
Oh, probably either at church or slumming it up.
You guys kind of say this as you pass the barracks, and Cure does stumble out of the barracks at about that time.
Like stumble like Kramer?
No.
No. No.
Chosen.
Oh,
Speak of feathers and she will arise.
well, I didn't exactly have the most peaceful of nights.
Oh,
But I
yes,
got
sir.
up, still, got up, still kind of a little bleary-eyed, and went about my morning rituals and routines, checked my armor, make sure everything was as clean as I could get it before setting out. And if it's a bright day, I'm just going to wince at the daylight as I emerge from the barracks.
It is actually a sunny day.
Oh, wonderful.
Sunny spring day.
Not a fan of the bright and early routine?
Oh, gods, what are you doing out here this early?
I'm a morning person.
Oh,
It's
God.
It's what we do.
We were just having a chat. How are you, Kior?
Matron, save us from morning people. I have been better. How are you, Josen?
Better and worse days.
Kior kind of nods slowly, trying to parse that.
You look like you've had better days as well.
I side-eye him. Do I?
No, I can't see you. I wouldn't know what you look like.
One wonders sometimes.
I'm faking my blindness? Is that...
I've heard tell there are other ways to see. I believe you were linked to a bird at one point.
I was.
Whatever happened to that bird?
Used it. Well, it will only last, what?
I know little of such arcane secrets. Say that with a kind of a false haughtiness as I join them on their way into the city.
So, as I was explaining to Small One, I'm here to lend my assistance where I can. You guys look like you could, or from what I hear, use the help.
Well, your help is always welcomed. There's an issue with a barbarian that we had to deal with.
So I heard.
That's
Heard he
going.
was leaving messes in dungeons.
I would hazard more that he was acting outside of the purview of his responsibilities.
Perhaps a bit overzealous.
It seems to be going around lately.
It does.
I also heard that your bard friend had a little of an episode.
Not entirely without reason.
Though a little bit of an episode might be underplaying it. He flew off the handle.
Not entirely without reason.
As I think the short one pointed out, a little overzealous, I guess.
Cure grunts a little bit.
Come, let's go visit Seamus. Expect
Oh. You know where he is?
Well, he told me he was going to be at his mother's, but whether or not he's there or not is completely up to him.
Oh, that makes sense. He is quite fond of his mother. And his mother.
Jocelyn just keeps talking.
Okay.
As does Cure.
You wake up to the sound of children laughing. You smell bacon. And you are not alone in your bed.
I groggily rub my eyes and take stock of where I'm actually at and who's in the bed with me.
Seraphim is conked out next to you.
I let out a small content sigh. I nestle in next to her for a minute, just enjoying it. Because it's been a long time.
Eventually your stomach growls and you smell bacon.
Yeah. After a few more moments staying in bed with her, I give her a kiss on the temple, and I slip out of the bed and think about it for a minute. Like, I didn't come to bed last night.
Nope.
And I smirk a bit and head downstairs towards the wonderful smell of bacon.
Yeah, you're glad Ilya rolled, or not Ilya, Seraphim rolled really high on her straight check. Yep, so you head downstairs. In the living room, you do see Ilya sitting on a chair with two young girls in front of her. She seems to be diagramming sentences in Celestial and giving a lesson.
Celestial.
She smiles at you. I've always found it useful.
Quite beautiful if you're willing to learn how to sing.
I think that they have the voices to carry it off. You do see the two squirmy young girls in front of her.
I look at the girls and I tilt my head. Oh, I don't know. They look more like adventurers.
Are you saying this in Celestial?
Yes.
Ilya smiles a little bit. And since when have adventurers not been able to speak Celestial?
I retort back at I still speak Celestial back. I say I'm a bard, I don't count.
She laughs at you a lot. And actually does make the exhaustion on her face break a little bit. I think your mother's making breakfast.
Yeah, I smell it. It's fantastic.
It is.
I could really use a good meal for the first time in a while.
Alright, and that's about when Cure, Macklin, and Jocelyn, you arrive at the door.
Dark on the doorstep. Comes bad news.
Here comes bad news. Way to keep us up, man. I just come walking through the door and take my normal seat.
Yeah. You split your time between Mrs. O'Shaughnessy's house and the castle. Especially
Or when I
considering,
get a chance.
yeah, in Allura when you get a chance, because especially considering Ilya has kind of taken up residence here, just to keep a spot in the city, so she doesn't have to hike back up to the castle every time she comes back into town. And she,
Bacon.
Ilya smiles at you. Huh? Joining us for second breakfast, Jocelyn?
And third, if I get a chance.
Cure, what languages do you speak?
Um, I know I speak Celestial.
Okay, just making sure you did. Because as you walk in, you do hear chiming of two young girls' voices reciting a poem in Celestial.
I'm a little hesitant as I follow Josen inside since he made himself right at home, but Macklin and I really aren't at home here. But I'm kind of drawn towards the sound of Celestial singing.
And it's not a complicated poem. It's very much along the lines of Mary Had a Little Lamb. But you do recognize two of the voices. As you kind of stick your head into the living room and see Ilya leading a lesson to Alina and Nika.
I lean on the door frame and watch.
I have my hand on the back of the sofa, and anytime the girls start to falter, I chime in with them to help them.
Okay. So 3.5 familiar voices.
Yep, just leaning in the doorway, watching quietly.
Macklin, as you step in, this is the homiest you have felt since you went on this crazy ass adventure.
My ears.
You smell actual breakfast food. Real breakfast, sausage and fried potatoes and bacon, and toast and eggs.
Ah, this is a rather lovely place when we're not rummaging around it in a panic.
A middle to elder aged human woman, plump, short, smiles at you. Oh, welcome. Do you mind grabbing that plate and putting it on the table?
Oh, by all means. Macklin I assume it's a coat hanger of some kind?
Yeah, there's a...
Yeah, he takes off his cloak, his rogue's gear, his belts, hangs them up on the coat hanger, and he's just got this nice vest on. It's well kept, and a nice little belt. He looks homey when he's not wearing his armor.
Yeah.
It's clean cut. Makes his way into the kitchen and immediately starts helping the older woman with setting up plates.
Yep. Just take a platter of sausage over to the dining room, and what you see is almost kind of adorable. Jocelyn's sitting at the table. Ilya is sitting in the living room, leading a lesson on Celestial, while Kior watches and Seamus helps.
I don't understand a word of it, but it is beautiful.
And fresh bread is brought out, and honey butter, and just a smorgasbord of proper breakfast.
Josen digs in.
Ilya smiles and kind of ruffles the girl's hair. Alright, you're free. Alina, if you bring home another kitten, well, I mean, it'll be fine, but don't bring home another kitten. And she looks at you, Kior, and at you, Seamus. Alright, well, everyone survived the night then.
More or less.
I make no comment on that. And instead, I take a seat at the table beside Josen.
Okay. The girls seem to scamper off. Ilya
as
waves at you and heads over to the study.
As the kids head off and we're eating, I would probably... That's when I'd pop up. So, what have we figured out so far? What was your last adventures without me?
Kior's going to lean against the corner of the wall in the dining room and just kind of loom.
Not everyone at once, no? Well,
Or come join us.
Nope.
Sit down. Sit down. Come on, come on.
I fill up a plate and then I look up. We went to Vasselheim.
That was our reaction when we got there.
Vasselheim. What did you discover in Vasselheim? I heard it was taken over.
Yes.
There's not much left there.
Most everyone either ran out or, well, they'll be staying there.
There are still pockets of survivors. The temples have fallen.
I heard young Taldore got himself caught up in some doppelgangers.
I put my my face down and I just start eating food and I don't say anything.
Some mistakes were made.
I set a task before him, and he chose to implement it in a way I had not considered.
It seems perhaps he was trying a little too hard, perhaps trying to show off a bit. Heavy-handed results. Numerous unintended people were caught in the aftermath. Important people were caught in the aftermath.
Old news. What do we know about Vecna?
Well, he failed to turn the Temple of the Raven Queen into one of his magical gathering god-making temples.
We
That's
encountered vampires, but we did not encounter any of the soul batteries we had seen before.
Oh, was that not the great glowing orb?
Was there a great glowing orb?
I think it was a...
The
Was it
Great
black-
Glowing Orb was a prison. It wasn't a battery.
It was a battery.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I retract what I said about the battery. Kior would have known that.
It seemed perhaps to be a young battery with a living being inside. It does make me wonder if perhaps
Right.
the other batteries are likewise made. A core of a living soul of some kind, trapped, funneled with dark energies. I'm merely speculating. I know nothing about magic.
The ones
Well,
we've
I would-
encountered thus far weren't encased, were not drawing power from anyone, but they were connected to the Guardians.
Mm.
It's
It
almost
seems-
like
Go ahead.
someone mucked up the ritual.
It seems as though the last remaining batteries were moved to more difficult to reach locales.
Yes, I think one was in the plane of shadows, another one in one of the layers of hell.
I stand up, walk to the traveler's pack that's hanging near where Macklin deposited his stuff, and I pull out the book that Odrin gave us. I set it on the table and I do the fancy little hand wavies and the finger doodles to make the map pop up of the different areas. I believe it was yes, a layer of hell. This one over here, that's, I think they said that was a city of brass. It's that's Fireplane. This one over here, Fireplane. And yeah, the shadow. Well, actually, was there one still in the Shadowfell? I don't remember. It's
I think so. I think there was one in the Shadowfell as well. Remember the one in the Fireplane, one in Hell, and I think there was one in Shadowfell left.
Yes.
Was there one in the Feywild?
There was a marker in the Feywild, but not for a battery.
What was the marker for? Do you know? Just marker.
It just says last known location, VM.
Okay. So, what's our next move?
well, actually, you don't know everything. I look between at least Macklin and Cure, and then I go back to the I go back to the wall, acting like I was going to grab something, and then I reach to my side, and I pull out Whisper. I place it on the table, and I take Johnson's hands and I put them on top of it. This is his dagger. I say solemnly. And he confirmed that Max confirmed that Max is dead. And that he's not quite among the living either. Since he specifically ferried her to her home. So we have one who you are working with who saw the death of Vex. And then we have maybe Scanlan, Pike, and Keyleth.
I believe he
Oh,
confirmed that Pike is gone as well.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. So and Pike is gone as well.
Oh.
So it leaves us with
Guns
Scanlan,
and
Grog,
frowns at
Scanlan,
that.
Grog, and Keyleth.
As soon as you guys say Pike is gone, he kind of frowns. And shakes it off, realizing that she's where she wants to be. You found him at this battery? He was at it? Like,
He was in it.
He was it.
who was the first one that we saw at the very first battery? Was it Vex?
No. The first battery was just a dragon. A lich, undead
the
dragon.
Draco Lich.
The Dracolich was the first one.
I
But we-
remember him.
The second one was Vex, right?
The second one was a doppelganger taking Vex's face across Western, yes. And that was at the brothel.
There wasn't a battery at the temple, the Death Temple,
No.
No, there wasn't.
but this battery you saw Vax.
Yes, all the temples were left alone except for the Temple of the Raven Queen. That one was particularly marred, and almost all of the followers were turned in one way, shape, or form. I think only one made it out alive.
And we have confirmed 3 of Vox Machina are confirmed dead.
4.
4. Who's the 4th?
Hold on, let me redo the math.
Vax, Pike.
Oh yeah, sorry. I overcounted. It's 3.
So where's the next one we go to?
Well, we know the location of 3 batteries. I suppose it's a matter of picking our poison, as it were. To the shadows, to the flames, or to hell.
Well, the problem with us going is we need to stop. I need to see if Jordana happens to have some inks, some chalks. I'm out. I can't get us back right now.
Macklin nods. And perhaps something that might protect us from fire, if we're going to the plane of elemental fire. Be a cold drink.
Oh, Macklin. That was
No.
legit what I said.
We can go visit Jordana and see if she has what we need, and then we can plan to go. Which one would you all like to go to? Do you want to burn? Do you want to burn? Or do you want to have your mind plagued with shadows?
Well, Land of Shadows, is that not the domain of the Raven Queen?
Good question in this universe.
Cure, you know for a fact that the Shadowfell is a plane that the Raven Queen has a very hard time touching.
Oh, so it's the opposite.
Opposite.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, that's where Vecna was banished to.
Right.
however long ago.
Ah,
It's a plane of undead.
right.
Not dead.
Shadowfell is Vecna's backyard, as it were.
And with him currently as superpowered as he is, perhaps we should hit that location after we take some more air out of his sails.
I was just thinking the same thing. I say we go burn in normal fire and not the hell fires.
Cure shifts uncomfortably, but says nothing.
Going to hell in one of them. Do any of you speak the local tongue? That is to say, primordial for the plane of fire, or infernal for hell?
I happen to know the language of primordial.
I've picked up a few choice curses for the other place. So, if we're going to the plane of fire, we have one translator. That's good
I
enough for
can
me.
speak infernal.
We may need someone with a authoritative tone down there. Confidence. They like confidence, I would assume.
Cure grunts non-committedly.
Yep, I would place my token on the plane of elemental fire. Deal with the demons afterwards.
Devils.
Devils, fiends, demons. The horned things.
They're completely different.
They actually are.
Oh,
Demons are very chaotic in nature, where devils are very contractile in nature.
You can reason with devils, but you cannot with demons.
duly noted.
To the
Okay.
fire plane.
That
Very
does
well.
beg the question, before we do go, and I glanced to look the room over, and pointedly looked to Seamus. Are we still doing this together? Do we all want to keep going and doing this?
I look at all of them. I have no problem with any of you. So, if it's Johnson, then I have no problem. But I cannot. Not with Darius. It does not meld.
I don't know what you're melding, but Darius is no longer a problem.
He isn't? I look up at Chosen at that point.
No longer a problem. At that.
I squint at Chosen from behind my mask. And debate with myself how deeply I want to press into that.
Well, that's a vote of confidence.
Your answer is quite cryptic, Johnson. Are you
Would you
just saying
expect
that he's not a
anything
good?
else from him?
Are you just saying that it's no longer a problem since you are here and we should just ignore the fact that he was with us? Or are you suggesting that something has happened to deal with him outside of what we know?
I think he said that Darius is no longer a problem.
Pretty sure I said Darius was no longer a problem. Jocelyn gets up from the table. Alright. So let's go see someone about some inks.
I rolled my eyes. The hardest I have rolled my eyes ever.
I heard that.
You did.
No, you didn't.
No, you're pretty sure you did.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Well, that's the best news all day. I can't wait to spend some wooden nickels.
I'll meet you over there. I have a stop to make first.
Very well.
A stop.
Indeed.
Kara's a busy lady. She's got a lot of people to, a lot of loose ends to tie up before leaving town.
I have to see a man about a horse.
Back to the empty spoon, then. Sticks out his tongue a little bit.
What's funny is that Jocelyn is now like, wait, what? That was a non sequitur.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
I glower at Macklin.
Live a little.
You make me not miss any of you. And Jocelyn heads for the door.
Kiora will turn with a swish of her cape and follow. Swoosh.
Macklin follows Jocelyn, but he sticks around at about the same distance as Seamus.
Yeah, it takes me a minute to grab all my stuff and redress since I had doffed pretty much everything, save for Whisper. So it's going to be about 10 minutes before, or actually 15 minutes before I'm ready to walk out that door.
Gotta put his pants on.
So, Kiora, you just slip out. You're gone. And Jocelyn, you are waiting for Seamus and Macklin to get dressed again.
Essentially,
Oh, yeah. I put my shit back on.
Yep,
So
I head off on my own.
where are you going?
What are
To
you
the smithies.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Going to the blacksmith I visited the other day.
Okay.
Just want to stop in and leave instructions for him to send the to Giordano's once he's finished.
You actually catch him, and he goes, "Oh, I finished your order early.
Oh,
I had an
Anyway.
empty spot clear itself up," and he slides over the items.
I inspected and nod my head at his workmanship and gratefully pay the man.
He smiles, takes it, puts it in his pocket. Pleasure doing business with you. I like doing these little things. It's a nice
The
break.
pleasure is all mine. I appreciate it. Thank you. And then I'll head over to Giordano's.
Okay. You guys get there at about the same time, honestly.
Okay.
With Seamus and Macklin dressed and prepared once more, you run into Kiora as she enters Giordano's.
Oh, that was quick. Must have been a small horse.
It was.
Was it named Sebastian?
Named what?
Never mind.
Kiora's puzzled.
Kiora does not know the fabled story of the little pony Sebastian.
The Little Pony Sebastian? Wasn't that the name of the,
Yes.
Selkie?
No. Actually, it might have been the name of the Selkie. But Little Sebastian references something else.
Okay. As they get to the shop, Macklin rummages through his pockets to look for those wooden coins.
Okay.
Oh, what is this? This is this little horse. Perception check for a horse?
No.
Everybody perception check?
Nope, that was a whisper.
Oh.
Killer is going to just kind of wander the shop while the others see to their business.
That's a crit fail.
Okay. Good to know. You're confused about what Sebastians have to do with horses.
Oof. Alright, which book is this in? Which fucking notebook did I put this info in? I gotta put everything in one book from now on. Oh my gourd.
Okay. As Macklin shuffles through his pockets, Joanna kind of comes up to the counter. Good evening, or morning, rather. Sorry, it all blends together.
Hello. It
Just-
seems my bard friend here needs some chalks and papers and something else as well.
Oh, of course.
Looks over at James.
Seamus, what are we dealing in? Trade?
Yeah, you have to give me a moment to reassess what I have. It's been a while.
Of course.
What else do you have around in the shop? Anything new nowadays, or is it all the same?
A couple of interesting little bits and bobs, mostly of the entertainment variety. A lot of hawked goods from Vasselheim that were of mediocre quality. Two-way mirrors, transcription journals, things like that.
Nothing interesting for this old.
Well, what sort of thing are you looking for? You're looking for a mind-altering experience? Are you looking for a good time? Are you looking for something that does a trick?
Things that kill undead creatures.
I raise my hand.
Alternatively, something that will prevent you from catching fire.
Oh, that's what it was. Fire.
Oh, the undead thing is perfectly fine too. I like killing dead things as much as the next guy, but
Fire resistance. Now that is something I can do something about. And she reaches, she kind of steps from behind the counter. So the shop is... You ever been to the knick-knack aisle in Goodwill?
Yes.
It's very much like that.
oh god.
Like, nothing, because everything is one of a kind, there is no real rhyme or reason as far as looking at it goes.
I got that. I can understand that for sure.
So, but she does go to a line of, it's like a small rod that's just lined with different scarves in various colors. I think I have, well, isn't that fortuitous? And she pulls down 4 red and gold scarves. Silk. Fine silk that seem kind of to move in her hand, even when she's not adjusting them or moving them.
Ooh.
And how much do these wonderful things cost?
100 gold apiece.
Sorry, that hurt.
They will protect you from being overheated and give you some
That is,
fire resistance.
Oh, that sounds rather useful. 100 gold. Let me see. Alright, so Macklin pulls from his pockets several of those wooden coins. I believe it was 125 gold worth.
Mhm.
Well, there's 1 and 1/4 of them. What else do we have? Gold.
No, my question is, you know the activities that we're getting into. You know the things that we are doing. And given that I work for the kingdom, trying to save the world, and really use the... For all of them, could you offer a little bit of a discount?
Roll a persuasion check.
I'm good at those.
I think he's looking for the hero special.
24.
Wow.
Well, I think we can work out some sort of trade, Jocelyn. And you do hear you hear her wink at you. There's a wink in her voice.
The wink in the voice. I love it.
As she kind of puts the scarves on the counter. I see that you do have some store credit to spend.
A bit.
I always work in favors, of course.
Johnson leans over. We've been known to do a favor or two.
You need someone chased out of town?
No. But... She kind of blushes a little bit, and she's trying to think of a good favor to ask you all. She's obviously got one on her mind, but she doesn't seem to be quite out with it at the moment.
Johnson just leans in, puts his hand in the ball and his chin, and come on, you can come out with it with us. We're secretive.
She needs a date for the ball to show up her shitty cousin.
Do you say that out loud?
Not at all.
Not at all. You're spot on. How did you know?
I look up from rummaging through my bag. I look her in the eye. Well, we already got Henrik to fall in love with you. So,
no, he did not fall in love with me.
Oh?
That bastard. We'll murder him at once.
Oh.
Who's Henrik? And I'm asking this to Cure.
It's best not to meddle in affairs of the heart.
Or
No, you're right.
that of the Raven as well.
But you guys seem so... Okay, who are we wooing?
I did not ask you to woo anyone. I miss Henrik too much anyway for that nonsense.
So are we kidnapping Henrik?
Yes, and keeping him in my basement. That's not creepy at all.
Sure.
We
I mean,
didn't.
to each their own as long as you're treating him well and it's not really prison.
I'm pretty sure the Raven Queen would frown upon that.
Yeah, so long as he's
I mean,
walking
if you turn it
fed.
into a devotional area with a nice little shrine that he can pray at, I'm sure we'll be fine. I say sarcastically.
Certainly, the paladins don't have anything better to do right now.
Have the attack stopped?
No.
Okay, then they have something better to do.
That is one of the reasons why he cut our courtship short. Anyway, how about this? Bring me back something nice and interesting.
Well, we
Do
are
you
going
have
to
to
the
keep
fireplace.
What?
Perhaps it'd be better not to advertise that.
She wants to see something nice. I'm asking if she wants to just see it or if she
No,
wants
that was
to own
that was
it.
the
No.
Jozen.
She said, bring me back something nice.
Oh.
Yeah, Kiora spoke to Jozen with that comment.
It's just our friend. She doesn't care where we're going.
She may not. Others may.
Let them come.
You're my only customers at the moment, and except for the people upstairs, who will probably already know where you're going, I wouldn't worry about it over much. Plus, if you're coming in here asking for things to help with fire resistance, then I can make a couple guesses.
Oh.
You never
Yeah.
know. We could be going to hell.
I've had hose full of fire.
I closed up my bag and I actually walk up the stairs while actually, hold on. "15 stealth check to walk away from everyone stealthily and go up the stairs."
He's going for the furry pancakes.
Alright.
Jozen
I
takes
assume-
the scarves.
I assume he was kind of standing in clear view of everyone, so I just
He
kinda
was.
watch him go.
He-
That was a 15 stealth.
Yeah, he kind of just slinks away to the side towards the
Yeah.
stairs.
My passive gets him.
Yeah, most of your passives get him.
My
Yours
hearing
hanging back
passive
there.
gets him.
Kyora's hanging back and just watching everyone, so she just follows him with with her eyes.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I'm being stealthy. No one said anything to me, so I just go up the stairs quietly and I knock on the door.
Okay.
I mean, Jozen could hear that from a row away, so.
Well, obviously.
So Jozen grabs the scarves and he goes, "They're
I
overdone."
won't be needing one of those. You can save some of your money that way.
ASMR, flame retardant.
No, but
Yes.
champions of the Raven Queen are.
That is one hell of a fringe benefit.
I know.
So that makes 3.
The door swings open. A young tabaxi girl is there, and she looks at you.
I smile. Good morning, Dust.
It's morning. It could have been a better morning.
Oof.
She's not wrong.
Good fuck up date night.
Y'all did fuck up date night.
We didn't
I-
do shit. We stayed downstairs.
I look at her and I give a shrug. I'm sorry. I have no control over other people.
Words to live by.
Well, I'm just giving you a hard time. What's going on?
I was hoping to see if Sending Stone yet.
To send it to the middle of the ocean?
Or the middle of a volcano. Either one works.
I believe it was the middle of the ocean, and he has arranged that.
Okay, well that I came to pick it up because he had to fix it. So that's why I'm here.
I don't. So you're coming to get a sending stone that will send you to the middle of the ocean. Alright.
Apparently, we know where ice is going.
I mean, there's easier ways to commit suicide.
There's better ways to go than drowning.
I take it and I smile at her. I lean in and whisper, "It's not for me."
Alright. Is there anything else I can help you with? Before my exceptionally grumpy girlfriend wakes up?
Yes. Get back in bed and have a good time. And then I turn around and head down the stairs.
Raunchy.
Wow.
A
Wait,
quiet
what-
morning with a good book is a good time.
I never clarified how she's having a good time.
Pancakes are a good time.
I had pancakes tonight.
You hear the
Oh yeah.
door close.
Alrighty, so as what was it, Alora?
Jordana?
Jordana. As Jordana and Josen talk shop and the transaction finishes, Macklin rummages through his items and withdraws the arcane tea set that he pilfered, recovered from the Raven Queen's temple in Vasselheim. He props this up onto the counter and sort of sets it up, moves the glasses around and faces it so that it turns it so it faces Jordana. Providing that our mission there is not as fruitful as you should think, I wanted to offer this as a form of collateral. It appears to be arcane in nature. Personally, I'm
As
not
Macklin
certain
speaks, Kior slowly looms over him.
What? Finders keepers.
Loom.
Providing that we do not bring something shiny, I wanted you to hold on to this. I assume there would be someone in town that would want to buy this. You, with your position as a shopkeep, would have a better time finding a buyer than I would. Supposing we come back with riches beyond your wildest dreams, perhaps we could use this as consignment later?
Alright.
And if not, well, you keep it.
She kind of looks it over, nods. I could definitely find a seller for it, but I will hold on to it then.
There are fringe benefits to donating a relic of a fallen temple of the Raven Queen to a standing temple of the Raven Queen.
Yes, but she has healing potions.
So do I.
I look Cure over, like, where?
I
thought you
throw
traveled
back. I
light.
throw back my cloak a little bit, and I've got like four like hanging from my belt or in a pouch somewhere.
Well, I suppose then we should look out for something much more valuable than a tea set before we come back.
Slowly close my cloak.
Though in the meantime, perhaps you could enlighten me as to these fringe benefits. I am curious. After reading the pamphlet, there's a lot more to that religion than I gave it credit for.
It starts with a leap of faith.
Also,
As in,
keep in mind, I said interesting, not valuable.
Oh,
And she gives you a wink, Macklin.
sulks a little bit.
Interesting.
Are we talking? And then I go silent for a second as I ponder whether I should say this or not. And then the mischievous bard part of me says, yes, I should. So, when you say interesting, is dismembered troll dick considered interesting?
slowly turn to stare at Seamus.
Maglin's eyes widen. He's sort of like, not scowling, but his lips like really tight and really wide. Like, what?
Trying to get a reaction. I'm
I
just
mean,
waiting to see
even
her reaction.
Dawson turns his head over like he's looking at him.
He's a little horrified.
Jordana looks
Is
at you.
wrong.
No. Music box that don't play music. Interesting.
But that's broken.
No, not a broken one. That's not what I said. Various, just interesting. You'll know interesting when you see interesting. Troll Dick is not interesting. Troll Dick is actually a little overplayed at this point.
Cure slowly turns her head towards Jordana.
Now, would that be an improvised rod or an improvised club?
Cure smacks Macklin upside the head.
Jordana looks at you. I believe it would be an improvised whip.
Some might call it a flail.
Additionally, wouldn't it regenerate an entire troll after a while?
Don't we have more important things to discuss than troll dicks?
Just imagine the tiny little troll attached to just dragging it along. Oh, the poor bastard.
Alright, boys, I think our business is done here. Thank you, Jordana.
He hasn't got his chalk and materials.
Apparently, troll dick is more important.
Macklin's just sort of flipping the scarf around his neck to muffle his laughter.
And Macklin, it is a very nice, high-quality silk scarf.
Oh.
You're like,
Oh,
this
this
is
is nice.
this is something you'd wear even without the fire resistance.
Cozy.
Dawson wraps it around his wrist and his wipes it off.
I look up. Do you happen to have any... what should I say? Do you have any scrolls or books in regards to the fire plane, creatures of the fire plane? I would like to fit in a little more than I normally do, normally would, as a human. Do you have
Ifrits
anything
and
to help?
elementals and devils all frequent the city of Brass. Tieflings as well.
Jordana cuts her eyes to you, Cure, and then back to Seamus. I'm sure I can check the reference section if you'd like. And she actually points to a section of the shop that is fairly well organized.
I go.
That section and check to see if she has a sample or two at least things that might pertain to the fire plane.
Okay, you do find, like, a small reference book about the fire. You find a couple of, like, historicals and things like that, but you do find one that does seem to be a collection of creatures of the fire plane, a map, things like that, like a travelogue.
Ooh, a trade. I grab the reference guide, and I walk back to her desk, and I place it down, and then I pull out the Marquette guide that I had gotten from a vendor there, and I place it down. Any interest in this? And I push it towards her.
She kind of flips through it. I can add it to the trade, if you're talking trade for this book.
Sure.
Okay, that's a good starting point.
Okay, so how many times do we need to be able to get back home? 1, 2, 3, 4 for really bad, 5 for that. Uh, do you happen to have 200? I need the 200 gold worth of some jewel crescent chalks and some magic inks for some of what I need to do. Do you happen to have that much, or is your supply limited?
5 teleportations?
Yeah, yes.
She nods and she pulls out some small bags made out of a woven brocade, and she pulls out 5 of them, sets them on the counter. I found they sell fairly well if you just portion them out in advance.
That is quite convenient.
Besides, if you need to make a hasty retreat, you don't need to go measuring.
Yes, that is quite helpful. So, how much for the book with the trade and the components here?
210.
I pull out my my pouch, and I groan a bit as I dig out 210 gold and place it on the counter.
She smiles, scoops it away. And if you bring me something interesting, you can earn some of this money back.
Certainly, she really wants interesting.
Oh.
I always want interesting things.
I might have something interesting, come to think of it. Does anyone else here use a bow, short bow?
No.
Nope.
I'm more partial to a crossbow myself, so he withdraws the braces of archery and places them on the counter. About how much would you appraise these for?
She takes them, looks them over. Huh, braces of archery. Well, that'll cover the cost of your scarves for sure. And perhaps a little more.
Cocks a brow and nods a little bit. Well, I'm willing to part with these if everyone else is. Assuming no one else needs to use a bow.
No, but I could use roughly about 300 gold pieces worth of diamond.
That's a lot of diamond.
She nods. That sounds fair. She slides the bracers back and reaches under the table and pulls out a fairly decent-sized diamond and sets it on the counter. That should do for your resurrection spells.
Thank you, ma'am.
When I hear that, I go, I have this. And I reach into my bag, rummage around for 30 seconds, and then I pull out my scroll of Revivify, and I grab Jazen's hand, and I place it in his hand. Here's a scroll that does it, does the thing that you need to do, but without the components.
Run my fingers through it. This will come in handy. Well-
Yes, it's a spell that I'm not quite able to cast myself.
Oh, that means you guys have at least 2 chances.
Hopefully we don't need either.
That's the hope. Slightly bows at the lady behind the counter. And I think we shall be off if you all are all set.
Actually, I think about it for a second. I'll lean across the counter towards Jordana. You wouldn't happen to supply the armory with magical rounds, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. Then I step back. I look over. We need to make a stop by the armory really quick.
Armory.
I was about to say, I recalled a couple tasks that I needed to attend to as well. Perhaps I could meet up with you all in about an hour.
That sounds feasible. I could use some new armor myself. This leather's nice, but if we're going to hell, I want something a little more pierce resistant.
Shall we
Well,
meet back at the Sun Tree when we're ready to leave?
sure. But I turn to Macklin. She sells armor here. And I point to the armor that I'm wearing. And then I point at Cure for a second. And I realize she's changed. She had armor like I have, a mithril.
Still wearing the mithril armor.
I thought you changed, or is it a cloak and not a full torso piece?
It's more, the way it was kind of described is more of a cloak and mantle.
Yeah, it's mantle.
Okay, so yeah, I point at Cure. Armor, if you're able to wear armor, that this armor, Jordana sells this armor and it does not make a sound. And it's light.
You don't say.
Well, I mean, she did. I look over at Jordana. Do you still have some mithril around?
Mithril? No, I don't get very much call for it.
Ah, damn.
You guys bought my last piece.
Double damn.
Oh, well, that's fair enough. Besides, I should do just fine with, perhaps, Oh, hold on. Alright, I'm going to hold off on that. Because I guess a chain shirt has a X modifier of 2.
Mish. You got Deathwalker's Ward, right?
I do.
Yeah, that's studded leather armor.
Like I said, in this game, I believe it was reskinned to be a little different.
Okay. So no bonus to AC then, I guess.
You guys still there?
Absolutely.
Okay. What you doing?
Well, if we're done, we're heading. Are we?
So the
We're done
armory.
in here. We're going to the armory. Cure's gonna go do.
Cure's gonna do cure stuff.
Cure's gonna do the things that Cure likes to do.
Cure will do as Cure does.
As everyone starts to head out, Cure lingers behind and turns to Jordana, producing the package she retrieved from the blacksmith and pushing it over to her. These are the items I asked about the enchantment for yesterday.
She nods and takes them out. Huh, it'll only take me a moment.
That fast?
It's a simple spell.
Oh, well, I suppose I can wait then.
She nods. She kind of takes them, moves back to the back room, leaves you in the shop for maybe about 10 minutes before coming
Well,
back.
Kior did say she was going to be busy for about an hour, so.
She comes back. She looks a little bit more tired, but she does slide the rings over to you. I believe that So I modified them slightly. The item you gave me only worked one way. These work two.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Of course.
And how much was that?
Let's call it 50 gold.
Done. And she places the gold on the counter.
And if you could maybe try to tell Honric that...
There are many ways to serve the Raven Queen. I'm sure there's one in particular that you would both find fulfilling.
Yeah, he feels that I was a distraction from his duties as a paladin, so...
It is very easy for a paladin to become full of themselves. Sometimes they need someone to remind them of that life needs things to live.
She nods a little bit. That's wiser than it sounds, actually. Thank you.
People die when they are killed.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. And she'll gather up the package. Tuck it in the
Cure.
pocket. Oh.
Do you need something with maybe some illusion magic in it? I'm not ancient now, but I was old enough to remember when you were brought to the city the first time.
I pause. Ah.
Yeah, back.
So long as I am clad in the vestiges of my mistress, I don't believe I am in any danger of being recognized.
Alright, I just thought I'd offer.
I appreciate the offering. And of the discretion.
She nods. Oh, it's not my place to go blabbing about people's histories.
Cure nods and kind of even bows a little bit in her thanks before leaving the shop.
Alright. What else you doing? Because Sam had to run out to take care of the puppies,
Yep.
so...
She's going to go over to the Temple of the Raven Queen to check in, make sure everyone's alright.
Yeah, everyone seems pretty well settled. You see drills being run in the side courtyard, as they usually are this time of day.
I'm checking in on the head priestess and her daughter, making sure they're recovering.
Lara is running the drills outside with the paladins, and Mara is is in consultation with a young farmer's wife who was recently widowed. So
Ah, good. In that case, Cure will then go into some private meditation, particularly to change the Deathwalker's ward resilience to fire.
okay. You feel it grow cold against your skin, and you feel a little warm bubble rise in your stomach of, I did that.
that little bubble of pride. On the way out, she will stop to see if she spots Heinrich in the yard.
He's there.
I consider for a moment how to do this before approaching him.
Okay. The group kind of breaks out into various sparring groups, and as you approach, he kind of motions for the others to continue on and goes, yes?
Heinrich, I will only take up a moment of your time. I was speaking to a friend who happened to observe, as Kior stumbles trying to come up with something plausible. They seem to observe that the mistress of the alcove had taken quite an interest in you.
We courted for a little bit.
Past tense.
I have work to do.
Understandable. I do not mean to interfere, but recent events have taught me to value what we have when we have it. It's a lesson that I think it's a lesson inherent to the teachings of our mistress, but it's one that is often overlooked by those in our order.
Microphone muted.
I suggest meditating on that whenever you have a moment. And I walk away. Because that was agonizing for Cure.
Fucking hell.
Microphone activated.
Did Sam ever come back?
Sorry about that.
I'm back.
You're gonna have to say that entire thing again.
What?
No.
No, I heard it.
Okay.
Okay.
I just muted myself because Screaming Baby.
Oh, gotcha.
Screaming Baby who has decided that pacifier is not enough.
It happens.
Henrik doesn't respond, but he does nod tersely at you. And lets you go.
Yep. I expect by at this point hours gone by, so I'm heading back to the country.
Microphone activated.
Okay. So, unfortunately, it looks like our alarm clock has started to go off. So, we will pick up with the other group next Tuesday.
All right.
Sounds good.
See you guys then.
Been fun.